Hey everyone, I am in the Royal Palm Visitor Center in Everglades National Park, and today I'm going to be hiking about 22 miles round trip into the very heart of the Southern Everglades using the old Ingraham Highway Trail. So it's going to be about 11 miles out, 11 miles back, and sun still hasn't risen. It's just starting to get a little bit light out. It's cold, it's misty, it's windy, but I'm excited to get going and seeing what the trail has in store. So, to the left here is the Anhinga Trail, which is a nice boardwalk that does a little loop. To the right is the Gumbo Limbo Trail, and I'm gonna take that, and then that's gonna connect me, as I said, to the old Ingraham Highway Trail. I'm walking through a hardwood hammock right now, and as you can imagine, it has a whole lot of Gumbo Limbo, but all sorts of other hardwoods as well that make their home on higher elevation. The sun still hasn't risen. Light is just starting to filter through the canopy, so it's still pretty dark, but a whole bunch of animals are starting to wake up, and nocturnal animals are starting to go to sleep. It's the Everglades day shift change, and soon enough the sun will be up and I'll be out of the hardwood and into much more open spaces. I just came out of the Gumbo Limbo Trail and onto the old Ingraham Highway. It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful out here. So this trail was actually the first road that led down to Flamingo, way down in the other Southern Everglades. It was built in the 1920s, and it was an asphalt road that cars could take all the way down there. And that was replaced in the 1960s by the current road. So it's kind of fallen into disrepair since then, but the trail is still open for hikers and bikers. So it's one of the less frequented trails in the park, but it also gives you an opportunity to see so many very diverse environments here in the Everglades and go really, really deep into the very heart of the Southern Glades. According to Google Maps, that's supposed to be the trail right there, which very clearly there's no trail here at all. It's just, you just go into the hammock and there's nothing here. So there's this connector road here that goes a little bit north and then meets up with another fire trail that connects with the supposed old Ingraham Highway Trail. So I'm gonna follow this, and hopefully that'll take me where I need to go. So we'll see if I actually get there. Following this beautiful open expanse of water. And in terms of side quests, this is definitely the scenic route. This gate here marks the northernmost point of that lake I was following. And now I'm turning left and going south, which will hopefully reconnect me to the old Ingraham Highway Trail. But it is so beautiful. Oh my God, it's gorgeous out here. Those are some wood storks that were waiting around looking for breakfast. Just open expanse on either side. It's so awesome. Ah, I love it out here. reconnected with the old old Ingraham Highway Trail here. I'm gonna take that down to the Ernest Cove campsite and then out to the old Ingraham campsite and then all the way back. I'm barely 2.5 miles into my hike and already I've walked through so many different types of environments. Hardwood hammock, rocky pineland. Right now I'm walking through a sawgrass expanse and right up ahead of me is another hardwood hammock. And these are basically islands in the middle of the Everglades. So the Everglades is really not a swamp at all. It's a slow moving freshwater river that goes down from Lake Okeechobee all the way down to the Florida Keys. And in the middle of this river are these islands, which you can see up ahead, which you can always tell because they have much taller trees or vegetation than the surrounding area. Snake carcass. Whoa, look at that snake skin. I am not nearly good enough at identifying snakes to know who left this here, but it is pretty cool. This is poisonwood. It's one of my least favorite trees in the world. You can identify it by its droopy leaves and the discoloration that it has on the top of those leaves. It usually also has sap on the leaves, branches, and on the trunk. And the reason why I dislike this tree so much is because it's in the same family as poison ivy, poison oak. For me though, I have a very bad allergic reaction to it. So my whole body will essentially get this terrible rash that will only go away with steroids. So I'm going to avoid it as much as possible. And unfortunately, it's all along this trail. Would you look at all of that poisonwood? None of which I want to touch. This is a fire ant colony, and I don't want to get too close to it because if I step on it, all hell will break loose. They are very, very aggressive. And they'll just cover you and go to absolute town. So they're actually an invasive species. They're not native to Florida. And yeah, every like 20 feet or so, there's a mound, and I'm trying to keep away from them. There's this tiny, super sketchy boardwalk leading off from the trail, which I'm not going to walk on because I am smarter than that, is what I'm telling myself. Also, it's surrounded by poisonwood, which I don't want to touch. This is definitely a spot where gators come in and out of the water. You can tell because there's a little path here that is made with their tails and their bellies when they come in and out. But there are definitely plenty of gators along this trail. I haven't seen any today, which is to be expected because it's a little bit cooler out, so they're not super active. Ditto with snakes, but I wouldn't be surprised if I see one before the day is done. The farther I go down this trail, the muddier and more waterlogged it becomes. But again, as I said, that was to be expected since it did rain yesterday. And I made this trade-off because I knew that with the rain came a cold front. So right now it's probably around 60 to 65 degrees, which means that the bugs are not out in force today. They're still out, believe me. There are some mosquitoes and I was just harassed by a deer fly, but they're quite a much more lethargic than they would be if I came out here, if I did something as stupid as come out here during the summer without a full mosquito jacket. This is a U.S. Geological Survey marker from when they built this highway way back a century ago. Now this is something I was not expecting to see, which is a red mangrove forest. Usually these are closer to the coastline, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to see them this far or this deep into the southern Everglades. They have been moving progressively farther inland as sea levels rise and saltwater intrusion starts to wear away at the southern Everglades. But yeah, they're not just saltwater plants. They can definitely live in fresh water, but yeah, just another habitat, another ecosystem that you can see along this incredible trail. I'm starting to see more and more cypress forest as I make my way down this trail. And again, like I said, I'm getting basically a grand tour of every major habitat in the Everglades. I love this. Okay, I just made it to the Ernest Cove campsite. It is a wilderness campsite. There's no bathroom, nothing of any sort of, I don't know, no luxury items out here. This is not glamping for sure. It's a bit waterlogged at the moment, but this marks about my halfway mark to the end of the trail. So I'm about a quarter of the way through my entire hike today. How's it going? How you doing? Good. What are you guys doing out here?
We're surveying for pythons.
Oh, cool. All right.
Seen any?
I have not. I haven't seen any reptiles actually.
No, no gators.
Pretty chilly. Yeah. No, I haven't seen any. Yeah. Okay. Well.
You were camping over here?
Nope. Just coming in.
Just
go back out.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys.
Wow, you're trekking fast.
3 miles an hour.
Sweet.
Yeah. Good luck, guys. I hope you find some.
Be safe.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'm about a mile west of the campsite, and the trail has definitely gotten a bit wilder, which I'm all for. Love it. You can definitely see that the surrounding vegetation has encroached onto the roadway. It's much more narrow. And yeah, let's see what's up ahead. We've got some Everglades shrimp in a pothole just in the middle of the road. And the Everglades is actually situated on top of a limestone base. And limestone is essentially like Swiss cheese. It's got tons and tons of holes. And all these little animals like glass shrimp and tadpoles and all sorts of fish survive in these micro ecosystems. This is cocoa plum. It's one of my favorite native tropical fruits of South Florida. And here are some flowers that are going to start budding. And come summer, it'll give fruit in the form of cocoa plum. And they're edible. And they're wild. And they're really yummy. But in South Florida, they're used as landscaping. And we've got some slash pine as well. Wow. The trail is getting quite overgrown now. One very good sign that this trail is not maintained and that people don't come down here very often is the fact that I'm getting just covered in spider webs every few feet. I'm currently walking through the sliver of high ground made up by the roadbed that's lined primarily with cocoa plum, green buttonwood, and poisonwood. But on either side of me, as you can see in this clearing, I'm just surrounded by cypress forest all the way around for miles and miles. Oh, baby sage. You crumple this up. It smells amazing. You can actually cook with that. Okay. This looks like a dead end, but wow, this is really overgrown. Okay. Is there anything at the end of this? Okay. Yes. The trail continues. It's just very overgrown. So this has been the cadence of the second half of this trail so far. It alternates between really overgrown hammock, and then it opens up onto these submerged prairies. It's beautiful little finch. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Hello. Off it goes. Look at this adorable little slash pine right in the middle of the road. And next to it is its big brother. I'm less than a mile away from the end of the trail, and the deer flies are out, and they chose violence this morning. I'm sure you can see them buzzing around my head. And here we are. I reached the old Ingraham campsite, the very, very end of the old Ingraham trail, 12.5 miles into the Everglades. And it feels great to make it here. It really does. This has been an awesome trail. I just need to make my way back. And I've been papered several times over by spider webs. So I'm just hoping those little guys and girls aren't busy reconstructing their webs for me to break through them again on the way back. Another sketchy little bridge going over to a hardwood hammock that I'm not going to walk over because I am a 36-year-old man who doesn't do that nonsense anymore. Look at that beautiful snake right there. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful shade of yellow. I assume. I'm colorblind. Now, that's not a poisonous snake because Florida has 6 different poisonous snakes. None of which are that one. It's not a cottonmouth. It's not a coral snake, etc., etc. But I'm just going to tiptoe around it and not disturb it because this is its home and not mine. That is the first gator that I see today, though I've been hearing them splashing, at least a dozen of them as I've been walking down this trail. That's the first one I actually see out of the water. It might be 4.5 feet long, still a juvenile, but I'm going to, again, give it plenty of room. Definitely not antagonize it, because they can move quick, but they generally don't want anything to do with us. But yeah, beautiful animal. I know some people have biked this trail in the past, but I definitely wouldn't, because you are 100% guaranteed to get smacked by all sorts of poison wood, like this one, and this one, and this one. First of all, check out that incredible view. Second of all, I just passed the Ernest Coe campsite, and that means that I'm 3/4 of the way through. If you want to ride your bike out here, I suggest riding it about 1 mile west or past the campsite and then dismounting and walking the rest of the way if you want to finish up the 10-mile out and back hike to the end of the trail, because as I said, you're going to get absolutely demolished by the poison wood otherwise. So yeah, not worth it to get on your bike. And I'd be very surprised, like I know that I have been in contact with quite a bit of poison wood, even though I was doing my best to avoid it. So I'd be very surprised if in 24 hours I don't start seeing welts all over my body. I'm not gonna lie, I am pretty tired, getting close to the end of my hike, but this section of the trail is just so beautiful. It's really keeping me going. I'm back on the Gumbo Limbo Trail, and I'm really glad I get to experience this again in broad daylight, because it really is a gorgeous hammock. I'm back at the Royal Palm Nature Center. As you can see, the parking lot has really filled up. But before I head home again, I need to make one more little detour and hike the Anhinga Trail. This trail is nice, but it's everything that the old Ingraham Highway Trail is not, which is crowded and touristy.
Really interesting.
Wow. This village was like this.
At a cormorant poop. And that's the second gator of the day. Just a couple hundred meters away from my car. I'm back in my car. The entire hike took exactly 25 miles, which I did in 9 hours and 40 minutes. It was tough. The terrain was easy. It was flat and relatively smooth. It was just very long. So I am tired, but it was a beautiful, beautiful hike. I'm very glad I did it. It was a bit jarring to come out of the solitude of the old Ingraham Highway Trail into the super touristy, super crowded Anhinga Trail. But at least I ticked that off my Everglades bucket list as well. So thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you guys next time.